So it's time to get off to Vegas. Unfortunately, my right-hand man couldn't make this trip, so it was just me and my video team, and we were excited. I'm looking around, I'm like, is that my videographer? Because it's like lights and it's bright. I'm like, is that him? Like getting escorted out by police?
Hi, my name is Vince Reed.
What's going on, guys? Vince Reed here, and welcome back to the DM, episode 11. I almost want to shed a tear because I have some good and bad news for you. The bad news is, this is the last episode. The good news is, this is the last episode of season 1. We're not ending the DM. This is gonna keep going forever. You're stuck with me, and I hope you're excited. And by the way, make sure you're checking out the recap episodes. I get to make fun of Mike. We get to have a lot of fun. With that being said, I'm so excited to get to episode 11. Let's get this party started. So I get tapped on my shoulder. Some guy comes up to me and he goes, hey, I think something just happened to your friend. People just came up here, pulled him out of the VIP area, and now he's gone. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? So I said, hold on one second. I looked over to Jermaine Dupree. I'm like, listen, man, I know what you may think. I know you want me to be in the next single and the next group. You know, I know you like getting the young people to be your superstars, but I can't do that. I'm about marketing, man. I'm a marketer. I can't be in your next video. Just kidding, that didn't happen. But anyways, I told Jermaine, I'll be right back. I went and I looked over off the rail where all the people were like out there dancing, and I was excited because Steve was about to throw a cake, but now I had to find my guy and see what happened to him. And I look out and I see him getting escorted out. All these people are like escorting him out, and you know, it looks like a big commotion going out there, and I'm like, man, I gotta go get him. And I went over, and I gotta admit, I contemplated. I'm like, well, you know, he'll find his way back to the room. He'll be all right. And I went back and I started talking to Jermaine. I said, I can't do that. So then I went out and I left and I went through the crowd and I was trying to find this guy. And now I'm frustrated. I'm trying to like text him and I'm calling him. He's not picking up his phone. It's so many people. And now, you know, I'm feeling some kind of odd way. I couldn't help but just look back. I just looked back at the VIP area. Everybody having a good time. And now I was amongst the crowd. Somebody slapped me in the back of the head. I was getting bumped all around. I'm like, man, now I know why everybody was trying to get up there. I wanted to get back, but I then thought, oh, hey, I gotta go find my guy. So anyways, I kept going through the crowd, reaching through, and I thought I saw him. I ran up and I turned the guy around, and it wasn't him, and he turned around, he swung at me, and I ducked like Floyd Mayweather, and I kept running through the club, and then I got out to the club, all right? It was like the exit sign, and I did one last like wait. I said, hey, I still got my VIP band on. I look back, and I'm like, cakes, my friend. Cakes, my friend. Being the loyal guy I am, I chose my friend. I went out, and then it was over before it began. So now I'm walking through the casino in a bad mood. I'm like pouting, you know, I'm swinging my hand like a kid that just parents told him he couldn't have candy. And I'm calling my friend. I'm like, where the heck are you? You just got us kicked out of the VIP party. Jermaine Dupree was trying to get me in his next video. What's going on right here? So I'm walking around and I'm thinking I'm seeing him. That's not him. Is that him? Is that him? Is that him? Oh, that ain't him. And then finally I get a call from him. He's like, hey man, I'll meet you back at the hotel room. I'm like, what happens? And right as he's getting ready to tell me what happens, Mr. X calls me. I'm like, hey, gotta answer the call from Mr. X. I mean, the man's put me up there with Steve Aoki, throwing cakes, hanging out with Jermaine. You can wait. So I picked up the phone, Mr. X, and then he's mad. He's like, what the heck happened? And you know, my assistant told me that you had to leave, and you know, we got you up there. We were so excited. He said that, you know, the person you were with was causing commotion in the VIP area. What's going on, man? Tell me what happened. What happened, Vince? Why are you getting kicked out of VIP parties? I'm like, man, I don't know what happened. I was chilling with Jermaine, and then next thing I know, I'm getting tapped. And, you know, I'm looking out there and I'm seeing my man getting escorted out. He just called me. I'll call you back and let you know what happened. So anyhow, I jump in a cab. I head all the way back to the hotel room, and I go to the room and I open up the door and I'm mad. I'm like, I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind and tell him how he ruined an opportunity of a lifetime, a party that only Mr. X can throw. And I get in, I open it, and he's not in there. I'm like, okay, great. Now what? Was he getting kicked out of the hotel too? So finally, like 20 minutes later, you know, he comes walking in, knocking on the door, comes walking in, head all down, looking just pitiful, like, what happened? He's like, hey man, I can't help what happened. I'm sorry I ruined your night. I'm like, what do you mean you couldn't help what happened? How did you get kicked out of a VIP area, man? We had the world at our fingertips. We were about to see cakes hit people in the face. We're about to see something that no one ever experiences. From a first perspective view, it was awesome. How can you get thrown out of the VIP party? And he goes, man, I saw this girl, she looked like J-Lo. I tried to pull her over the rail, and they said, I couldn't do that, and they just came and they escorted me out. I'm like, what does she look like? He said, J-Lo. I'm like, okay, I get it, man. I'm like, I get it. You try to pull J-Lo over the rail. I mean, I might have to pull J-Lo over the rail too. But I'm saying, hey, next time all you had to do was walk her around and tell the guy to let her in. He's like, I could have did that. I'm like, yes, you could have did it. So I slapped him a couple times. Had to spank him because he was younger. I gotta, teach the young kids how to act when they're out at the VIP parties. After I smacked him up a few times, like, hey, let's go out. Let's go, down to the tables and have a good time. We're leaving first thing in the morning. But anyhow, he ruined a great time in the VIP area, but it was still worth it because I got to just hang out and experience something that I had never experienced before. All right, so Vegas was amazing as always, but now it's time to get back to Cali and get back to work. My internet traffic system, our system, it's operating and working on all cylinders. We have so many people making money, multiple six-figure earners at this point, and the system is rolling. And there was a key component to this entire system that really made it tick. And to be honest, even to this day, I don't see anyone really executing what we were doing to make this as profitable as it was. And leave it up to me right now to literally pull back the curtain and explain to you the true secret weapon behind the system that was creating so many 6- and 7-figure earners and making me a multi-millionaire. So what we were able to do was essentially allow our partners to promote the system. You've heard me talk about that before. Now, if you're listening to this, you're likely thinking, okay, great, you had a bunch of affiliates promoting your products and services and you're making money. And if you're thinking that, you would be correct. But there's one simple twist that made this work. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? And it's always the little details, okay, that make the difference. So what we were able to do was offer what we were calling traffic packages to all of our partners. What a traffic package was an individual who was a partner could pay us to drive traffic to essentially their link for them. The reason this was a huge advantage was that I had already figured out how to generate sales at a profit, right? So I was running ads to the exact same page and video that our partners could use to generate sales. And I already knew that it was profitable, essentially. I was able to print money. The more money I would put into the system, the more money I was able to make. So before any partner would actually purchase traffic packages, I was able to show them the actual results that I was getting. So I could say, hey, if you essentially purchase traffic packages, here's the results I'm getting, and then they could do the math and see if it was profitable for them at a 50% commission, right? So essentially they would purchase these traffic packages, and then I would be able to go out and market for them. But here was the real key to all of this. It was like they were paying me to market my own thing. So let me give you an example, right? So let's say that you were going to purchase a McDonald's franchise. One of the reasons McDonald's is successful is they basically understand the value of real estate, right? So if you talk to a lot of people that understand McDonald's, they'd say McDonald's isn't really a burger joint, it's more of a real estate company, right? Because what they do is they know how to purchase these McDonald's in the right area where it gets the most traffic, and based on those numbers, they know they're gonna, execute and make a certain amount of money, right? So in this case, okay, I knew that if I promoted my page to a specific audience, that it would produce a certain outcome. So when our partners would purchase traffic packages, they essentially would pay me, let's say $5,000 to $10,000 to run ads to their page. Their page was my page. It was the exact same page that I was using to essentially make money. So they were paying me to market the product, which was my product, okay? So it was like they were paying me to market my own thing. So I was basically getting funding for my own business to market in terms of when they would generate sales, I would get paid as well. So think about that. This was the genius part of the system. So imagine, right, someone paying you to market your business, and every time, essentially a sale happens, you split it with them. So you make money there, and you make money essentially when you're actually promoting. And what happened was, because there were so many people purchasing traffic packages, it was able to explode the brand a lot faster. We were able to get sales a lot faster. And a key rule to advertising is, the company that can essentially afford to spend the most to acquire a customer wins. And when you have that kind of capital and that many different partners essentially giving you money to advertise and market, it really makes it difficult for you to fail, and it gives you a lot more data for you to find the things that are working, which can produce better results for all of your partners. And that's exactly what happened. And people started making money. I'm talking multiple 6 figures, and a lot of them. And that allowed other people to see the success of those partners, which essentially drove new people to be part of the system. And what I love the most is that it worked. Okay, I was able to teach people traffic and actually show them that the things that I was using that they were learning from the system worked, and I was able to prove it time and time again on every single traffic package that was purchased. So with all this newfound success, I said, now it's time. It's time for us to really showcase the results that these individuals are getting. You know, I had seen a lot of systems come and go, and I had seen some systems that had produced, you know, some six-figure earners and even some seven-figure earners. But I had never seen a system where the majority of the people promoting were all making money. You know, I honestly, to this day, really can't think of anyone that didn't at least get their investment back in terms of what they invested in terms of becoming a partner. So I started to plan Internet Traffic Live 2. And I wanted this to be the best event ever, right? So at this point, I've attended a lot of events. You know, I've obviously had an event at this point, and I wanted to make this the best one yet. And I said, this is gonna be all about our members. I wanna showcase these members. I wanna show people that there are people that can create companies, that can produce results for their members, and I want it to be 100% focused on them. So I remember I went out and I started to find all of these different awards and different things that I could give out at the event, and I wanted to make sure that this footage was perfect, that I could promote people getting their awards and showcase all the multiple six-figure earners that we had created, and just really prove, you know, this thing that I learned way back in the beginning when I started marketing, was that if you help enough people get what they want, then you get what you want, right? So, you know, for me to become a millionaire, I knew all I had to do was create multiple six-figure earners, and that's what our focus just turned to. How can we help our customers get better results? How can we help them make more money? So this time, because we had a lot of success from the first event, you know, we were able to, you know, learn from those experiences and really, you know, put a stamp on what was going to happen on this next event. So we stepped up our game in terms of, you know, the hotel that we were going to host the event in, and we also stepped up our game in terms of the speakers who were going to speak at this next event. I remember we had people like Russell Brunson speak at the event. You know, we had people like Mike Koenigs, and, you know, my buddy Ray Higdon spoke at the event. You know, we had, you know, people like Nick Unsworth speak at the event. We even had John Lee Dumas come back and speak again. I think he may be, you know, one of the only individuals that has spoken at almost all of my live events. You know, he's amazing. So the lineup was awesome, and people were excited. And now we were really in a position to do what is the most difficult thing when you have live events. If you've ever had a live event, you know what the most difficult thing is. And that difficult thing is filling the event. So we started trying to fill the event. You know, I had, you know, all these speakers on the hook, and I told them this was gonna be our best event ever, and we were gonna have a lot of people, you know, in the room, and they were all excited. And, you know, I remember I announced the event, and I started trying to sell tickets, and for whatever reason, you know, people just weren't buying the tickets to the event. People, you know, were excited. They were commenting in our group how excited they were for it, but ticket sales were down. And I remember, you know, my right-hand man and I, we just kept talking about it. We're like, what are we gonna do, man? Like, it doesn't look like this thing is, you know, selling out. You know, we're in trouble. There's months till this event is gonna be live. We weren't even close to filling our room block. And, you know, the time was of the essence. And, you know, I don't know if you know this, but if you don't fill your room block, okay, at a live event, I mean, the penalties could be in the tens of thousands of dollars, because what happens is these hotels, okay, they block off a certain number of rooms that they don't sell to the public, right? So if you don't sell them, they still charge you for that. So that's really, in my opinion, the hardest thing about the event. And at this point, it was pretty much empty. I mean, we hadn't filled any of the room block. People weren't buying tickets. I was stressing out. We had this huge lineup of people. Once again, I was gonna look crazy, and I remember just having nightmares. I remember thinking back to the last event where my right-hand man had to literally drag me out of the room to get me downstairs. I'm like, this is gonna be worse. He's not dragging me out of the room this time, because if nobody's at this event, I'm not even gonna go. He's gonna have to drag me from my house. But anyhow, it was crazy, and we just had to figure out and devise a plan. So I remember thinking, okay, let's step back, because, you know, I believe in strategic warfare, right? There's always a strategy to make anything happen, right? I don't care if it's a week left to your event and it's not sold out. I believe there's a way to do it if you just step back and you strategize. So I started to think to myself, okay, how can we, you know, make this a no-brainer? Like, what could we do to truly, you know, sell out this event? So what I decided to do was I said, okay, I've got a list, you know, of multiple six figures in terms of people on a list, an email list, right? You know, hundreds of thousands of people. We just needed to fill this room block, and we want to get, like, you know, somewhere between 300 to 500 people to this event. So I stepped back and I said, okay, what would I be able to offer me if I was on that list to get me into the room? So I remember I told my right-hand man, I'm like, let's plan a webinar. Everything always comes back to a webinar. How can we get as many people in one room, meaning one webinar, where I can, make an offer and, try to essentially, fill this event. So, I remember thinking, okay, how can we also make it a no-brainer to get a ticket? Because typically, you have to understand when a person comes to a live event, they've got to buy the ticket, they've got to get their hotel, they've got to get their flight. So there's a lot that goes into this. And I remember thinking, so what's the big picture here? What is the main thing? We just want them in the room, right? We know that we'd likely make an offer at the event. So if we can just get them in the room and get them to, basically book at the hotel, then we'd be fine. And I also knew that a lot of people who were on the list, okay, they were hearing and seeing all the results from all of the people who were making money with our system. So I started to showcase the people that were getting results, and I created this leadership council. They were basically the people that were making a lot of money. So I started to have them do weekly webinars showcasing their results. Right? That was how it started to kind of build up what was happening in the system. And then in terms of this big webinar, okay, I basically had these individuals on this webinar, and I also basically said, okay, what I'm gonna do is this. I'm going to essentially say, if anybody gets in the system and purchases our Trigger product and essentially becomes a level 2 member, which means essentially they're paying the $47 a month where they gain access to all of the products, they would get a free ticket to the event as long as they booked a hotel room at the event. So for example, let's say the ticket to the event, I was charging $500 or $1,000 for the ticket. I took that away and I said, all you have to do is be a member of the system. And you'll be able to hang out with all these people that are making multiple six figures. You'll be able to hear from all of these speakers, and you'll be able to come to the event. So we planned this webinar. I'm running ads. I'm messaging our list. And I remember we had 2,000 or 3,000 people registered for this webinar. And I was really excited about it. And at this time, still literally a couple months, outside of the event, it's still not filled. We still are not even close, and we had to make this work. So I remember I get into the waiting room on the webinar. It's launch day. I remember looking at my right-hand man. I'm like, hey man, this is it. If this doesn't work, it's gonna be me and you at that event, and we're gonna have a good time in an open room, right? So it starts and people start coming in immediately. And I remember literally when this thing started, it just went up. And we were over 500 people in the waiting room for the webinar, immediately. And I was like, okay, cool. And we got somewhere between 700 and 1,000 people on this live webinar. And I'm like, okay, now I've got to deliver. I remember being so nervous. I was sweating. I had my slides ready. And what I did on this particular webinar was I said, I'm not going to make it about the event. I'm gonna make it about access, right? Because I believe that what people really pay for is one of two things. They pay for speed, they wanna get a result fast, and they pay for access. Okay, that's why you wanna get the picture with your favorite celebrity. That's why you wanna be in the rooms with the people that are making money. And that's all I focused on. So the whole first part of the webinar was just all of the success story. This person made 6 figures. This person made 150,000. This person made 50,000. This person made this. They're all gonna be at this event. They're all members in the system. And when I got to the offer, I'm like, well, I'm having an event, we're putting all these people in the room, all the people that are making money, and I'm having these speakers. Russell's gonna speak, John Lee Dumas is gonna speak, all the different speakers that we have, they're all gonna be there, they're gonna have access to all of them, we're gonna have a mastermind. In fact, on the last day, we're gonna have a bonus day where we're gonna dive into your business so you can get to your end result faster, and you're gonna have access to all of these people. And best of all, you can get your ticket for free, with the catch. Because when people get out of an event, when they get home, what typically happens is people forget everything that they learned. They don't execute anything, and I want you to be able to execute. I want you to continue to have access to all of the people that you're gonna have access to. And, I remember, looking for sales, and I didn't really see very many sales coming in. And I remember I was like, oh gosh, this may not work. And I remember now at this point, people are jumping off of the webinar. We're at 760 or something like that. Now it's down in the 600s area. I'm like, oh gosh, people are jumping off. This isn't gonna work. And I remember I just said this, and this wasn't actually in effect, but I remember saying, if you don't take action on this offer right now, it's gone. You're gonna have to pay $1,000 for the ticket. Okay, but if you get in for $47, you just book at the room, you can get the ticket to the event, you can hang out with all of the amazing marketers, all of the people in our system that are making money, you get to learn all the strategies, and you'll have access. So after the event, now because you are essentially part of our system, you get all of these courses, you get me each and every week to make sure you execute everything that you're gonna learn at this event. All right, so I remember I ended basically the webinar, and at this point I still really didn't see very many sales coming in, and I just remember putting my head down, and then I remember, basically getting the notification. and I look at my phone and it's like ticket sale. Okay, and then it's like another one and another one. And essentially the ticket sales for us at this point was people basically getting the room block, right? People were joining the system at $47 a month. I'm seeing those coming in, and I'm equating everybody that's getting into the system as a person that's coming to the event. And I'm looking at the room block fill. I'm looking at the room block. I'm looking at new people joining the system. New $47 per new level 2 person. I mean, it's just going crazy. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, literally all night. It's going, it's going, it's going. And not only are we getting more people into our system that are paying us each and every month, we're getting people that are booking rooms and essentially committing to come to the event. And I'm just losing my mind. It keeps going on. 1 hour turns to 2. This is happening, all night. And I look to my right-hand man and I'm just like in disbelief. I'm smiling. I don't know, like I can't even believe what just happened. And I said, dude, I think we did it. Like we literally just sold out the event from one presentation. We did it. Congratulations, season 1 is complete. I hope you got a lot of value. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment. I want to know your thoughts. And if you've missed any of the episodes, make sure you go back, binge watch. All right? We're already working on the next season. We're excited, and we have some surprises up our sleeve, some new, fresh, exciting type of content that we're going to be producing for you. We're excited. It's never going to end. We're going to keep it going. Hope you guys are excited. Until the next one, I'll see you on the internet. Later.